Moments ago, Luka Magnotta made his first appearance in court in person. A lawyer for the suspected porn star killer said Canadians should know he has placed his trust in the Canadian judicial system. He is choosing a trial by jury. On Tuesday, Magnotta appeared in court by video link. He pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder in connection with the death and dismemberment of Concordia University student June Lin. Magnotta's lawyer is Pierre Paniccio, and he is well known for his work defending organized crime figures, including members of the Hells Angels. A spokesperson for the prosecutor says Magnotta's next court appearance will be next year.
So both counsel decide to fix preliminary inquiry in March 2013 on the 11th for 10 days. So both parties will proceed for the preliminary inquiry in both file.
Senior QMI correspondent Brian Daly joins us by phone from the courthouse in Montreal with the very latest. Describe the scene for us if you could, Brian.
Yeah, well, certainly Mr. Magnotta was there in the prisoner's dock in a high-security courtroom at the Montreal courthouse. Journalists and the public were restricted in terms of how many of them could enter. He appeared fairly implacable, really, not really much of an expression. I did speak to his new lawyer. I should mention his legal team has been beefed up. Mr. Paniccio is now one of three members of his legal team. The lead lawyer at this point is Luka, who is a Toronto lawyer who has come in specifically for this case. He is the one who said, as you had mentioned earlier, that Mr. Magnotta has faith in the Canadian justice system, and they went right ahead, skipped right past all this talk of a psychiatric evaluation, and went right to a date setting for a preliminary hearing that would begin on March the 11th, 2013. It would be a jury trial, that also being confirmed today.
But where does the request for a psychiatric evaluation stand now? Do we know?
We can't say for sure. There was no mention really of it today, although I should mention that Mr. Magnotta's mental state did still come up, because one of the first things that his lawyer, Luka, said to the judge today is that he has concerns about Mr. Magnotta's conditions of incarceration at the Riviere des Prairies Detention Center. He says he had concerns for Mr. Magnotta's physical and mental well-being, and the judge appeared surprised by that. He said, "What do you mean?" And he said that Mr. Magnotta needs medication. The judge said, "Which type of medication?" We can't report on what type of medication because it was covered by a publication ban, but we do know that Mr. Magnotta now has access to two types of medication, and that's certainly, we don't know, we can't tell you exactly what type it is, but the conditions of Mr. Magnotta's incarceration certainly are that he's in isolation, can't speak to or contact any other inmates. We should also mention that the Lin family was in the building, although they were carefully kept away from the public. They were not in the courtroom per se. We can presume that they were in a separate room and witnessed the court appearance today by Mr. Magnotta by video conference. And I should also say that there's been a significant shifting of resources here at the courthouse, and we can expect not only Canadian media, but well over several dozen foreign media to come in March once that preliminary hearing begins. Krista.
A couple of things, Brian. This publication ban that you referred to, is this new? Is this a development from today?
Well, the publication ban is on one item. Which type of medication is Luka Magnotta going to now have access to?
It does
upon
not
request
apply to
by
any.
his lawyer?
Sorry, just to be clear, does not apply to any other elements of the proceedings at this point?
No, it's just on the medication issue, although certainly we can report that there was a request made for him to have access to medication.
Okay. You spoke about the courthouse security, if you will, given the media presence that is anticipated. Interestingly, there were reports today that the prison guards union, which I believe you spoke with yesterday, takes the position that the security has been rather excessive. This guy, the accused, is being treated as though, you know, he's Hannibal Lecter, when in fact he's not, I believe, was the wording of the quote that I saw.
That's right. So the typical security measures for an inmate, even a high-profile inmate, is two vehicles, one prison van and a corrections SUV. The prison guards union saying that that is sufficient for anyone, for any inmate, regardless of how infamous they are. So yes, there are political reasons why the head of the prison guards union is saying this. Also, I should mention, they've continually said that their guards are underpaid and overworked and underfunded. Meanwhile, they say that police tend to be able to get the type of resources that they want on demand. So we should take what Mr. Stéphane Lemaire, who made that comment to me yesterday, take what he said with a grain of salt. He's essentially saying that Mr. Magnotta doesn't have friends, doesn't have a network like a biker leader or a mafia leader would have, that you'd need to be very, very concerned about moving them from place to place. So he's certainly taking a very different view on the security measures than the police are, and that even some of the members of the public are.
Appreciate the context, Brian. Thank you.
All right, Krista.
Brian Daly, our senior QMI correspondent, reporting live for us by phone from Montreal.